And I can tell you, as somebody who's done both the chemical way of losing weight and the hard old-fashioned way of losing weight, give me the chemical version any day. Not only was I not fighting hunger every single day of my life, but I didn't have to put in as much effort.
Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we're going to be talking about Tatiana, or Beet Face Honey, here on YouTube. Tatiana is someone that has done YouTube for a really long time and was doing a lot of makeup tutorials, and she's a celebrity makeup artist. But more recently, she has been doing videos talking about her experience on the different GLP-1 medications, Wegovy, Ozempic, all of those types of medications. And she just uploaded a video relatively recently where she was talking about her experience, this most recent experience on a GLP-1, and the fact that she has actually gotten off of that GLP-1 and has gained a significant amount of weight back. But then she talks about her experience and why she decided to get off of it and how she feels about being off of it. And I think it's just a really interesting video into the mind of someone that has decided to take a GLP-1 and is off of it right now, gained quite a bit of weight back, but also is wanting to get back onto it eventually because she feels like it's really, really helpful for her to lose the weight. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. We're going to skip ahead about 4 minutes because she has her daughter in the first little bit, and it's kind of unnecessary for what we're going to be talking about. Her daughter's very cute, but that's not what this video is about. So we're going to jump ahead about 4 minutes into the video where she is just kind of talking about her experience. So again, the title of this video is Wegovy Update, I Gained Back All of My Weight. And so without further ado, I'll just kind of let her share her experience.
So aside from our camping trip, we went to Florida this summer. It's been a terrific summer for the most part. But by the title of this video, I think you know the downside of this summer for me. I've not been on Ozempic or Wegovy for several months now, and I am gradually, slowly but surely gaining all the weight back. And I'm just on a trajectory to keep gaining weight, I guess, as we head into fall and winter. So, if you have not been on this journey with me and you're not aware of the fact that I lost 70 pounds using weight loss injections, and then I had to stop taking weight loss injections because of an emergency. If you want to watch that journey, I encourage you to watch the playlist from start to finish so you could see how I lost the 70 pounds, because it wasn't just the injections. There was, in the beginning, certainly I made dietary changes, and then you could just see the progress of it, and also why I had to stop it.
I think that is something that's important. I think a lot of people that maybe don't know much about these medications feel like you just take the medication, you don't have to change anything. At the end of the day, regardless, the medication isn't like this thing that you inject and then all of a sudden your weight comes off, right? You do have to change certain habits, but the medication makes it easier, if you want to use that term, and a lot of people don't like that term being used, but it can make it maybe feel a little bit more possible for you to make those changes. Something that's brought up a lot now is food noise, right? Where a lot of people that really seems to really struggle to lose weight and keep it off, they feel like they are always thinking about food. And so the medications and the injections can really help them with that food noise to where they don't feel like they're thinking about it, food at all. Sometimes they can go a little far, I think, which we've talked about, but I definitely think that there are certain people that can get a lot of use out of these medications. And again, I always have to say this whenever I make a video about it. I am not anti these medications. My mother is on it and has lost 40 pounds on them, and I am very happy for her. And I think that it's a great thing that she's using them. Okay. So I just want to make it clear. I'm not against the medications. I just like to talk about this stuff and look at the implications and how it does affect people. Right. And so that's I just wanted to share that real quick.
But to keep this video short and sweet, I gained 40 pounds back out of the 70. So this summer has been super adventurous, but also just a bummer. Also, if you're watching my videos regularly, you know my last video, I talked about a pregnancy that I had where unfortunately we lost the baby. It's taken a lot to get my body back to some normalcy after miscarrying. I finally had a period after having to do a chemical abortion. Once I miscarried, my husband and I are trying, but no luck so far. My daughter's 5th birthday is next week, and then the following week is my birthday. I'm only getting older, so I don't know what God's doing with that, but a lot of the reason I haven't moved forward getting back on semaglutide is because I am trying to conceive. I don't know how long I'm going to do that, because as I inch closer and closer to my start weight, I become more and more uncomfortable, more and more aware of my size. more and more tired, and to think about a pregnancy on top of that with the weight that I already added, it's just a lot. And I knew when I started this drug that the recommendation is that you be on the drug forever. I've said it in so many of my videos, and the way it was explained to me was when a diabetic gets a hold of their insulin levels and their A1C, they don't just stop taking the medication because they've gotten the levels under control. You need to maintain taking the medication. Well, I've struggled with weight my entire life.
So this is really, really important, and something that I think needs to be really like said to the person that is considering taking these medications. Because if at any point, like just imagine you're in the position where you've struggled with your weight for your entire life, you've been wanting to lose weight forever, and then you decide that you're going to go on this medication, and you finally feel like you have found something that helps you lose weight, that makes it so it feels like it's possible for you, right? But then for whatever reason, whatever it might be a medical scare, but for whatever reason, you might not be able to afford it. There might be something that's going on in your life. You might be struggling financially, so you just literally can't afford the medication. There's so many things that could go on that make it so where you can no longer afford it. And then you start gaining the weight back, and now you genuinely believe that you cannot lose weight without this medication. It is impossible for you to do it. That, I think, that's such a terrible way to feel. And I'm not blaming anyone. Like, I'm not blaming Tatiana, the person that's making this video. I'm not blaming anyone for feeling that way, because I can understand that. But we need to really think about the implications of that and really talk about, like, this is why I get so frustrated when people like they make these backhanded like remarks where it's like, oh, it's basically impossible to lose weight without medication or without a surgery. And like, if you try, like, what's the point? That's dangerous in my opinion, because now it's like you don't have any control over your life, right? Unless you're taking this medication or you get this surgery or something like that. And that is dangerous to me, because I don't believe that to be true, right? And so like, I can understand and feel for her, like, to be in this situation where it's like, I'm not on this medication any longer, and I feel like I'm just gaining weight and there's almost nothing that I can do about that. That is really dangerous to continuously push that. I'm not saying that she's pushing that, but just the general conversation now is that, right?
I'm not a 20-something-year-old girl who's just discovering that I'm having a hard time with my weight. This has been an ongoing thing since I was a kid, and I'm about to be 41 years old in a week or 2 weeks. I have lost.
She looked great for her age, I will say that.
The weight many a times, doing it the good old-fashioned dieting and exercise way, and I always gain it back. And it's interesting because my husband said to me, he's always been pretty fit. And he said to me a couple weeks ago, he said, I like to just lose it the hard way, the old-fashioned way. You know, you feel like you really earned it. And I said, I'm going to have to all the way push back on that, because I have lost it the good old-fashioned way. I've literally lost, particularly, 70 pounds. You can go back in my YouTube history and see me do Weight Watchers. You know, 13 years ago, I was on YouTube talking about Weight Watchers and losing the weight, the natural way, waking up, walking 3 miles every single day, watching what I eat. Obviously, because it was Weight Watchers, lost 70-something pounds and eventually gained it all back and then some. And that was just one scenario where I recorded it for you guys to see. Throughout my entire life, I've been going back and forth with my weight. And I told him, it is incredibly discouraging to put in all that work and then gain it back. And I can tell you, as somebody who's done both the chemical way of losing weight.
I know that it's discouraging. And again, this is not to disparage her at all. But like, yeah, it is difficult, but that doesn't mean that it's impossible, man. Like, I don't know what else to say about it, because like there were plenty of times when I tried to lose weight as well, right? Where I felt like it was literally impossible. I used to make jokes about it all the time. You know, I don't have a metabolism, or my metabolism is broken. It doesn't work for me. I can't lose weight. I've tried everything. I said all of those things, right? Until I found something that worked for me and something that was sustainable and that wasn't Weight Watchers, where it was like, a lot of times people will try these things that are just too restrictive, that are unrealistic expectations. There's no way they could stick to that long term, and then they're upset when they're not able to stick to it long term, right? Again, and I'm not trying to say that there's anything wrong with what she has done. This is not a video to attack her at all, right? more than anything, I want to talk about the lessons and the things that people think are true and the things that people like that you hear so much over and over again. And this video was just a really good example of that. I have nothing against her. I just want to make that incredibly clear, right? And it's just like, I just hate that. I hate to watch someone that's being genuine that feels like there's nothing they can do. They have no control and they have to use a medication. That just makes me, it just makes me really, really sad to hear that, right? But I'm going to go back a little bit because what she was about to say is really important.
And then gain it back. And I can tell you, as somebody who's done both the chemical way of losing weight and the hard old-fashioned way of losing weight, give me the chemical version any day. Not only was I not fighting hunger every single day of my life, but I didn't have to put in as much effort. Counting calories and Weight Watchers and all the other ways that I've tried to lose weight in the past, just to put in that much effort for the weight to only come back, I will take the chemical weight loss any day.
It's so interesting to hear her say that because if I were to say I've had this experience, I've had people upset with me for using the word natural, that I lost weight naturally, right? Because they're like, well, that means like you think you're better than someone that's used the Ozempic or used the GLP-1 or had a weight loss surgery or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know what to like. How else am I supposed to explain how I lost weight, especially with how popular these things are? How is me saying I lost it naturally bad? But that's besides the point. We're getting off topic. But like to hear her say that it is easier to lose it on GLP-1s and that like it doesn't require as much work. I thought that was really, really interesting to hear that from someone that is on one, because I feel like most of the time if you talk to someone, especially that's an influencer that's using it, they will say the complete opposite. So when I was watching, I was like, oh wow, that's interesting, because you do not hear that very often.
I will gladly get back on these injections and stay on these injections for the rest of my life if I have to, because I spent the first 40 years from the time I can remember always being just dispositioned to be heavier. Everything was better when I was on weight loss injections. Everything. I was happier. I wasn't constantly thinking about food and struggling with the fact that I was always hungry. My periods became regular. Obviously, I became fertile because, well, no, for a time there, I wasn't even having sex. So I can't really speak to the fertile thing, really. So I'll have to retract that because, for some years, my husband wasn't here, so I wasn't having sex at all. But he came home and within 6 months, I was pregnant. Just everything was better. And the biggest aspect of that is what I keep saying and what I can't stress enough. When I'm dieting and exercising, I'm constantly fighting and battling hunger cravings. Whereas I had 1 full year of sheer absolute bliss and what I think is normalcy for the rest of the world.
Now, I can't sit here and say like, oh, that's not true, I don't believe that, right? If that's her experience, that's her experience. And I definitely can understand, like hearing that, I can understand why someone would want to go back on a medication like that, right? Hearing that bliss, literally bliss, right, explained, especially if you're someone that feels like you have that food noise and you're always thinking about food, to feel like you'll never think about it again almost. I can understand how that could be like something that you'd want. It's just, it just feels kind of scary to just be like prescribing everyone to no longer ever have to think about food and it not be a thing, because I have seen, and we've made videos about it, of people that I believe take it too far to where they are so unbelievably thin and they don't even see it. And they're just like, well, I'm not even hungry, so why would I eat? And it's like, I just don't know what the answer is, but I can understand both sides. Like, I really understand why she would want to go back on it. I can understand the frustration, feeling like you've tried to lose weight so many times, and every time you've done it, you feel like you've gained it back, and it felt like it was impossible. It felt like this task that was unsurmountable. It was like impossible for you to do it, and you get on this medication, and now it feels so easy. But then you're not able to be on the medication anymore, and you start gaining the weight back, and how much that can mess with you. Like, these are things that should be talked about and needs to be more like studied, I feel like, because it's just like no one's talking about it. It's like, if you have anything negative to say about Ozempic, people would just label you as like some person that hates anyone that's trying to lose weight. You hate fat people. You don't want them to actually lose weight, and you don't care about it. All you care about is working hard. And that's just not how I feel. And it's so frustrating because I am attacked every time I say anything that's like, hey, maybe we pump the brakes on this. Maybe we rethink this. Like, should everyone be on this? Should this be as popular and easy to get as it is right now? These are questions that I think should be answered and should be more studied. And it's like, if you talk about it at all, you are instantly labeled like fat phobic and you hate fat people and you want them to all die fat or something. It's crazy to me. Sorry.
You're not constantly wanting to eat something. I just didn't even think about food. And I would take that for the remainder of my life. So, and you know, I know me by now. I knew when I went off these injections, I was hopeful, but I knew I was going to gain it back. I don't have a time limit for myself or like an end game where, you know, I'm going to stop trying to conceive, but I'll just know it when I know it. I'm about to be 41. Like, if it doesn't happen within a certain amount of time, I think I'll just call it quits on trying to have another child, which makes me really, really sad. But, you know, biologically, I've pushed it as far as I can go, I think. And I only have a few more months of the limit where I think I'll just be unwilling to have another pregnancy. And I don't have a time frame, like I said, but I just, like with everything else, I'll know when I know. So anyway, yeah, your girl is just, it's all coming back to me now. All the weight.
Yeah, a great voice. It's really good.
It's all coming back. So thankful for the husband that I have who doesn't complain. Because I legit gained like 40 pounds in 1 year of our marriage. So like,
yeah, so and that's pretty much the end of like talking about the Ozempic and like how it's been messing with her. Wegovy, I forget exactly which one she is on, but GLP-1 medication. And I just felt like this was a really good video explaining someone that is going through the, you know, like wanting to get back on it, but at a position where for whatever reason they can't, and they had to get off it. They started gaining weight. It feels like there's nothing that you can do about it. So I don't know, like for me, like watching videos like this and seeing people's kind of mindset going through it is really interesting. So I am really curious what y'all think about this video and just in general, the things that we talked about today. I love talking about this stuff. I think it's very, very interesting. I would love to know, even if you're someone that's watching this that is on GLP-1 medication, like how has your experience been? Or even if you're thinking about it, what's the thing that makes you want to take it or makes you kind of nervous about it? I don't know. I'm curious about what y'all are thinking, because I know I've seen tons of comments of people that are on a GLP-1 medication right now. And I do appreciate the ones that are on it and they understand where I'm coming from and they're not just like immediately like he hates GLP-1 medication and then thinks we're all terrible, because that's not how I feel. But yeah, let me know down in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching this video and I'll see you next time. Peace.